my washing machine in the background isn't too loud. Anyways, maybe I'll make a video defining the criteria, but just for context, when I'm talking about this numeric scale of how powerful someone is, Ilia Topuria, by the way, he is an 8.5 out of 10. That's my assessment of his power. Ngannou would definitely be a 10, because I think this is just as powerful as someone can humanly be pound for pound, where Ngannou was off balance all the time. His technique is kind of janky. He's not in a position to generate maximum power. And yet he's still absolutely starching people. So Ngannou, Derek Lewis might be a bit lower, but Ngannou's certainly a 10. Leon Edwards, Robert Whittaker, they're both very skilled strikers. They can land a lot of flush power shots, and they're hitting people in the chin over and over. But when they fight the more durable fighters, they're just not finishing them. So these guys would probably rank lower on the power scale, maybe 5. 5 would be average, even below. But they're so carried by their skill, that's why they can sometimes finish people. But in general, they're always going to a decision. I'm talking about Whittaker and Edwards. And I have Ilia Topuria. The thing is, in terms of raw power, he's not a 9 or a 10, but it's his finishing ability, it's his technique that's allowing him to get finishes. Or is allowing him to just starch people out cold. That's what I meant to say. So it could give some people the impression that he's just that powerful. No, it's actually because he just leverages his technique. He's naturally very powerful, but, for example, if you took someone like Josh Emmett, and Josh Emmett can really crack, but he's not in a position to generate maximum power, and he doesn't have the best technique. So Emmett can land a punch, and he's just wasting so much of his potential in terms of how powerful that shot could be. It's just being lost in technique. Whereas Topuria, who I'd say doesn't hit as hard as Emmett, but he's landing with perfect technique right on the jaw, and he can just knock someone out with that. But fighters with a lower level of power, even they're landing these flush power shots right on their opponent's chin, they are still not knocking them out, even with those flush shots. I mean, they would have to land a head kick to even knock down their opponent. I mean, you can tell, as I said, fighters like Whittaker, fighters like Edwards. Whittaker was landing shots on, like, Duplessis. Who did he fight? I mean, Duplessis, Costa, Vettori, Gastelum, Cannonier. I mean, he couldn't even finish Chinny Cannonier after knocking him down with the head kick. Darren Till. Whittaker was just not capable of finishing those guys, and it was very rare that he even hurt them with his strikes, even though he's punching them square in the face over and over and over again, even landing some flush head kicks. So he has the skill, he just doesn't have the power. Whereas Ilia Topuria will hit someone, even durable fighters, with the exact same shots, the exact same type of shots Whittaker's landing on people, or Edwards is landing on people. The difference is Topuria just naturally has a lot of power. So he also has the skill, and it really speaks for itself. And fighters who are on the high, like, someone's a higher level of, they're on the higher end of the power spectrum just based on the results of their strikes landing. And some fighters who are extremely skilled and have a little bit of power, like a 6 or 7, they can get a lot of TKOs. Even occasionally, they'll flatline someone out cold who's just super chinny or has terrible defense. But in general, they're not flatlining people out cold. When you see a fighter who is consistently putting their opponents out cold, number one, I mean, they either have insane power or they're insanely skilled, plus they have some power. But, I mean, yeah, Topuria is just doing it he did it to Max Holloway. That really, there's no doubt that he can seriously crack if he's finishing Max Holloway, who no one has ever knocked out. But, as I said, you just have to look at the nature of his knockouts. So this guy, Steven Goncalves, I mean, he just starches him with one punch. He wasn't out cold, but Damon Jackson, I mean, it's also technique, because Topuria, as I said, he knows when he's knocking his opponents, he's corralling them against the fence, and he's just finding their chin with extreme accuracy. He's landing right on the chin, he's usually hitting them when they don't see the punch coming, and he has extremely good technique. But you add that power on top of it, that's why his opponents are just being sent to another dimension. I mean, Damon Jackson. Now, Topuria's punch was really good because it completely traveled through his head. That sounds so graphic, but I think people understand what I mean. But even so, fighters with a lesser amount of power, they could land that exact same finishing punch on Damon Jackson, and he wouldn't be knocked out like that. He would probably be knocked out, but he wouldn't just be completely ragdolled. So Ryan Hall, never been knocked out. I mean, he only has, what, 1-2 losses in MMA? He only has 2 losses in MMA. And Ilia Topuria is the only guy who knocked him out. He seemed to be pretty durable the way he took those first few punches. Bryce Mitchell, I mean, he was undefeated at the time. Topuria did knock him down. Now here you can see the difference between someone like Topuria and Emmett, where, I mean, also Mitchell was moving into the shot, and Emmett just caused him to completely seizure out. That's how you know Emmett just has insane power. Like, even someone's running into their shot, and you land that kind of punch on them, most fighters are not going to make Bryce Mitchell just start seizing up on the canvas. So, I think that kind of showed the power difference, but Volkanovski, no one's ever knocked him out cold. Makhachev clipped him with a head kick, and he was bouncing his head around like a pinball machine. Poor Volkanovski, but he immediately started reaching for the legs as soon as the ref called it off. I mean, Volkanovski he was not fighting back, but he was not separated from consciousness when he was fighting Makhachev. He was clearly there, just he was totally unable to do anything. He was way too rocked. Whereas Topuria lands one punch and he just starches him out cold. Now, Volkanovski, I wouldn't say he has an amazing chin, but he's never been put out like that. And, I mean, really, you don't even need all these other fights. I mean, all these fights add a lot of context. As I said, just the nature of the knockouts. People who, as I said, lower level of power, they're never going to do that. Even if they land punches with perfect technique right on the chin, it's not going to matter. They're not just going to be starching people out cold. But Max Holloway, this fight really sells it. I mean, Topuria landed some good punches on him. He rocked Max Holloway. And Max Holloway is pretty much as durable as they come. He has an extremely high level of durability. Never been knocked out. I think he's only been dropped twice. He was about to get dropped by Poirier in their lightweight fight, but he fell into the cage, and the cage saved him. And then he got dropped briefly by Gaethje, who landed the perfect punch. I think it was like on his temple or the side of his head, and his punch really traveled through the head. So that was a good transfer of momentum. But yeah, I mean, Max Holloway immediately jumped right back up, and even though Gaethje was kind of teeing off on him, he recovered. Whereas Holloway got hit with that one big straight from Topuria, and he just couldn't recover from there. And then Topuria drops him with the left hook clean to the jaw. And Max Holloway has taken plenty of punches square to the jaw, where his opponent is fully winding up into them. He's taken so many punches like that, and from fighters, as I said, with that, they just don't have that level of power. He's just walking right through them. I mean, for example, look at Holloway. Who did he fight? Okay, so he fought Gaethje. To be fair, Gaethje did drop him once, but apart from that, he never even wobbled him on the feet. The Korean Zombie was landing bombs on Max Holloway, and Max Holloway was only slightly wobbled. I mean, I would say he was slightly wobbled. He didn't look like he was in any real trouble. He was mostly just backing up and off balance. Arnold Allen also landed some huge shots on Holloway, especially in that 5th round. Holloway just walked through all of them. Yair Rodriguez, he had a war with Holloway. He landed so many just vicious shots on Holloway, and if I remember correctly, Holloway wasn't even dropped once. He's pretty much just walking through all these punches. I mean, same with all these other fights. Now, Volkanovski doesn't hit that hard, let's just be honest, but Volkanovski can still crack. I mean, like when you're just getting hit that much, right on the jaw, it doesn't really... Eventually, for most fighters, you're going to start showing some damage. I mean, like Diego Lopez, he has a fantastic chin, but Volkanovski still wobbled him multiple times. And Volkanovski, I remember him landing this giant shot on Max Holloway that cut him open, I think in their 3rd fight. Holloway wasn't even rocked a single time, and he was eating tons of flush shots from Volkanovski. So, like, Holloway's as durable as they come. And Topuria, I mean, he just lands that perfect shot, and he puts him out. And if he were to keep following up with hammer fist, Holloway would be out cold. So yeah, just from the Holloway knockout, you can see Topuria has an insane level of power. Like, as I said, forget all the other fights. So that's, but at the same time, you have to, 10 has to actually mean something. You can't just give everyone who hits hard a 10. 10 I gave to Ngannou because Topuria, as powerful as he is, it's also his technique that's allowing him to finish people. If Topuria is really off balance, or if his opponent is moving with the shot, or if they partially brace for it, they can anticipate it, Topuria is usually not going to just immediately vaporize them. I mean, for example, Volkanovski took some shots off Topuria in the first round. He took was it a right hook or a right straight? He took it clean to the jaw, and he wasn't even dropped because he was moving backwards with the punch. At Holloway, he took a flush left hook in the second round, I believe. And he was a little bit wobbled and stunned, but he wasn't finished. And Holloway also took a lot of more glancing punches from Topuria and wasn't really affected. So, at the end of the day, Topuria doesn't have that calamitous power where he's just going to completely erase someone from existence just by touching them. He doesn't have that touch of death like someone, as I said, someone like Ngannou has, where he just clips you and then you're immediately just starched out cold. I'd say even Prates, just pound for pound, hits harder than Topuria, but Topuria is obviously so much more skilled. I mean, Prates just touches you with anything glancing, anyone in the division's in trouble. Topuria, he hits people with glancing shots, it's probably not going to knock them out. It might not even wobble them. Just because no one, I mean, that level of power is just so rare. But the thing is, Topuria with his 8.5, if he lands, I mean, and also his technique is always good. He's grounded, he's in a position to throw, he can always generate power. But Topuria lands any punch with good technique square in someone's jaw, unless they have really an insane chin, they're just going to get knocked out. Like anyone at lightweight. That's the thing. It's not that Topuria lands one punch and they're done. Like if they partially block it, if they roll with it, if they see the punch coming, if they're moving backwards, all those other factors, then they can survive the punches. They might not even get dropped. But if they're against the cage planted, like this is why it matters. Topuria just needs to land one punch with good technique right on the chin or right on the face and have it travel through their head a little bit. And he's going to knock them out cold, like anyone at lightweight. Those are the implications of his power. That's what I'm trying to get at. So, I mean, you want to talk about his fight with Oliveira. This is my prediction for the fight, by the way, if it comes down to this. And look, I like Oliveira. Oliveira is a great fighter. He's wholesome, but you know, this is a sport, and someone has to win. If Topuria lands, I mean, Oliveira is not that chinny where he's just going to get, as I said, he's not just going to get instantly erased by Topuria if Topuria lands anything. But if Topuria lands any solid punch with decent form and technique on Oliveira's chin, he's immediately going to get knocked out. Like, he's not even going to get dropped and then try to recover. He's just immediately going to get knocked out. That's my power prediction for their upcoming fight. Oliveira cannot take a single clean punch from Topuria right on the chin. I mean, yeah, as I said, if he's moving backwards, moving with the shot, but I'm talking about he's in place, he's exchanging with Topuria in the pocket, he has a bad habit of not having great head movement. Like, for example, the punch that Chandler landed on Oliveira that stunned him really badly, if Topuria were to land that exact same punch in the first round, he would knock Oliveira out cold. Like, maybe some people don't want to hear this because they like Oliveira. And look, I like Oliveira too, but I have to say it as I see it. And Topuria, if he lands something that partially lands, like it grazes the cheek of Oliveira, if he just lands with good form and he hits Oliveira anywhere in the head, and Oliveira's not completely rolling with it, it's going to stun or hurt Oliveira. I think every meaningful punch Topuria lands on Oliveira's face is going to hurt him. And if he lands square on the jaw and his arm like really whips the head around, Oliveira's getting knocked out cold. Like, simple as that. He's not going to survive those punches. So even if Oliveira is shelling up, Topuria just sneaks one shot through his guard, he's going to, like, even, as I said, even if it's not perfect, it's probably going to drop him. So, yeah, Oliveira being a fighter with kind of average durability and just horrible defense. Now, I don't want to say horrible, because, I mean, he has bad defensive habits. I don't want to crap on Oliveira. I do like Oliveira, but Oliveira has bad defensive habits, and he doesn't move his head, which is really going to be terrible for him exchanging with Topuria in the pocket. So, yeah, his head is right there to be hit, and he's been through so many wars in his career. He's almost 36, I believe. Let me just check the age. How old is DuBronx? Actually, how old is DuBronx going to be at the date of this fight? That's what matters. 36? 35 years, yeah. And yeah, all those fights, 45 fights in MMA, all those training camps, all that damage. Whereas Topuria's in his prime, 26, undefeated. It's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. I'm just saying. So, is there anything else to say, or is that the end of the video? Yeah, so pretty much the power of Topuria, and also I said, combined with his finishing prowess and technique, it's going to be a nightmare for Oliveira. Like, if Oliveira tries to stand with Topuria for more than 2 minutes, that's how much time it would take Topuria to be able to land at least one meaningful shot, and that's a shot that's going to drop him. And why I say that with a lot of certainty is because every time Oliveira faces a decent striker, he gets lit up and he gets dropped. That's just how it is. Chandler, don't even compare him to, in terms of technique, he's a freak athlete, but, I mean, Gaethje outstruck him, Poirier outstruck him. Apart from some moments of success Chandler had where he exploded on Poirier, Poirier was really showing the skill difference. And, like, Poirier wobbled Oliveira multiple times in the first round and dropped him badly. Gaethje dropped Oliveira, I think, in the first minute of their fight, and then rocked him badly again. Oliveira fell to his back. So, those are two strikers that I consider their boxing worse than Topuria. So, I mean, you look at all the fights he's had. Every time he faces a decent striker, he just gets lit up. Even Tsarukyan really doesn't hit that hard. He's not a striker, but Tsarukyan was still, if you look at the numbers, he outstruck Oliveira on the feet. And I know he had the takedown threat. Topuria doesn't need a takedown threat. I mean, because, as I said, Gaethje Poirier didn't have a takedown threat. I mean, Chandler didn't have a takedown threat on Oliveira. And he almost finished him in their first fight. Actually, he almost finished them in both of their fights. In their first fight, he almost finished him in the first round. In their second fight, Chandler almost finished him in the 5th round. And Topuria, he still has power later into the fight, and we saw in the Josh Emmett fight. Even he cut so much weight down to featherweight. I mean, he weighed in heavier than Volkanovski at fight night. Topuria still was able to almost finish Josh Emmett in the 4th round. I believe that was the 10-7 round. Was it the 4th round or 3rd round? I believe it was the 4th round, but yeah, still dangerous. I don't think the fight's going to go that long, though. But yeah, anyways, we'll see. If Oliveira just shoots from the get-go, takes down Topuria, chokes him out, we might not see the power of Topuria on display. But yeah, the moment Topuria starts landing anything decent, Oliveira is immediately going to get hurt, and he's going to start panic shooting. That's probably what's going to happen. So, and Topuria, yes, he's jumping up from featherweight to lightweight, but Topuria gaining all that muscle is just going to make him more powerful, and pound for pound, he's one of the hardest hitters at 145. I mean, the only current 145er that hits harder than him is Josh Emmett. Jeremy Stephens, I mean, he's technically still in the UFC, but he doesn't have that same level of power at being 40 years old or 42, however old he is. But yeah, I mean, someone like Topuria moving up a weight class, it could even give him more power, because as I said, all that extra muscle mass, but no one really knows. But certainly, anyone saying Topuria's power is not going to carry up from 145, I think they're completely mistaken. Just anyone who naturally hits that hard, even you could separate them from weight class. If it's only a matter of one weight class, they can still knock people out a division higher than them. I mean, look at Yuri Prochazka. He doesn't cut any weight. I mean, Yuri Prochazka fights at a lower weight than Duplessis and Paulo Costa do at middleweight in terms of his fight night weight. Yuri Prochazka fights at like 208 pounds, and he's still knocking out guys who are 25, 30 pounds heavier than him. So, and we see other fighters, they move up, and they're powerful in their division. They're still powerful moving up. So this is also my other power prediction. Ilia Topuria moving up to lightweight, absolutely no problem. He's still going to be able to crack. He might even be able to hit harder. But yeah, that's going to be no problem, especially someone who's, sorry, like Oliveira is kind of chinny. So absolutely no problem. We'll see what happens.